welcome back. Today I'm just showing you a handful of poses you can do in a chair. So if you happen to be someone who works at home or in an office, or you're in school and sitting a lot, or even a senior who prefers to just do a yoga poses in a chair, this is for kind of everybody, so to speak, but you can take whichever poses from this video that you like, or do them all in a flow. So the first one is seated. Easy pose. So you can cross your legs or just have one foot in front of the other. And you know, depending on what your chair is that you're sitting in, if it's a work chair and has arms on the chair, you know, you might be able to have your knees up, or you may or may not be able to do certain poses if you have arms on the chair. But just see what you can do. Some of these poses with arms on the chair and some maybe without, but see, maybe your knees will fit with the arms on the chair. So easy pose. If this is comfortable for you, it's not comfortable for everybody, but you're sitting with maybe your palms facing up, and you could even lean back into your chair and just take a few deep breaths. So this is pose number one. If you were going to do just a little 5 or 10 minute yoga routine on a break or lunch break or something, this would be where you would just center yourself and get yourself ready for just a few nice stretches. Seated twist. So taking opposite hand to opposite leg, other hand on your chair, holding on to the back of the chair however you want. Sometimes it's good to hug the back or just rest on top, and just getting as tall as you can, looking over your shoulder and just easing your way into it. You can use this hand on your leg to push you deeper into the twist if it feels good. Giving yourself space to breathe, of course, and every time you inhale, let yourself release a bit from the twist. Exhale into the twist. So it's okay to have a bit of movement in your twist, like you're wringing out a sponge, moving in and out of it with your breath. And of course, don't forget to do the other side. You could reach up and then switch and just breathe. Seated forward fold. So if you happen to be at home, or maybe you keep yoga blocks at your office, which is never a bad thing to do, you could have your feet on yoga blocks if your feet don't touch the ground when you're in your chair, or you can always scoot closer to the edge of your chair. So you can have your feet hip width apart for a forward fold and slide your hands down your legs, or you could have your legs wider apart and have the option of blocks or something in front, maybe a box, an office box or something, to rest your hands on to a forward fold. But either way, just doing what's comfortable for you and only going down as far as you want to go. And if you have space to let your head hang, even better, just letting your head really hang to relax your neck. Taking a few deep breaths, really feel the breath into the rib cage. So as you inhale, feel the ribs expand. Exhale, close the ribs. And relax your shoulders. And then slowly pushing into your feet to help you roll back up, nice and slow. As many times as you like. Seated side stretch. So again, you want to make sure your feet are flat on the floor, one hand on your chair and the other arm reaching over. And breathe back to the other side. Seated side stretch. So placing one hand on the side of the chair, just so you don't fall over, while the other arm reaches over, or if you do have arms on the chair, you could rest one hand on the arm of the chair. And of course, don't forget the other side. And if you're someone who likes to get into your hips while you do this stretch, you could take your legs wide apart, rest a forearm on one leg, and side bend. So if you're doing it this way, make sure you're pushing your arm into your leg so you're not sitting into the shoulder. You want to support the shoulder. Deep breaths. Seated pigeon pose, or figure 4 stretch. So placing one foot on top of the other thigh. Make sure the foot that's on the floor is flat on the floor, knees stacked right over the ankle. And you could flex this foot too if you like. So just get nice and tall first, and sometimes just being tall gives you all the stretch you need if you're really tight. And you know, your knee may be low, it may be up here, it just depends how tight you are, so let it be. If you want to hinge forward, if you want a bit more stretch, you can hinge forward, but always make sure your spine is long. So you don't want to round your back. You won't feel much of a stretch that way. So get really tall and make sure you're hinging from the hip until you feel the amount of stretch you want to feel. And we're going for the feeling right in here. So just take your time and breathe, relax your shoulders, and you can even come in and out of the stretch. You could go up and down if you want to feel it, but then come out of it and ease your way in and out with your breath, or you can just hold it. And of course, don't forget the other side, and there's usually always one side that's tighter than the other. So again, just start tall, see how it feels on the other side. If you have space and it feels good to hinge forward, then go ahead, but make sure you keep that long spine and focus on your breath. So every exhale, just release and relax the muscles just a little bit more. And then slowly release, maybe give the legs a little shake to finish. Extended leg stretch. So just depends how flexible you are and how it feels. I am using an actual loop band here, but imagine this is maybe a scarf you have with you at your office or at school, or an extra long sock. Could be anything that you can just hook around the bottom of your foot, maybe the ball of the foot or the arch of the foot, and you're letting your leg, you're bowing forward. It's kind of like if you were sitting on the ground doing a seated forward fold. So similar idea. So other foot's flat on the floor, and you've got something to hold on to. Could be longer, could be shorter like this. And you're just trying to lengthen your spine as much as you can. So you might want to bend and stretch, bend and stretch. And then this isn't going to be for everybody, but if you want to go a little deeper and you want a little bit of a stretch in the back of the leg without actually sitting on the ground and doing it, this is another way to do it. And of course, you cannot forget the other side. And of course, one side's usually tighter. This is my tight side, my left side. So just, again, bend and stretch maybe, or let yourself hinge up and push down. So just find a movement that feels good, or just hold the stretch. But trying to lengthen your spine, again, we don't want to round too much. You won't feel the stretch as much. So always trying to lengthen. And of course, listen to your body. And when you come up, you might want to roll your shoulders back after that one, just because whether we like it or not, we probably do round the back a little bit there. So just give yourself a little counter stretch for your shoulders and back. Warrior two pose with a chair. So if you obviously this one's for if you don't have arms on your chair, because we're going to be taking one leg over to the side, and we kind of cheat this leg out on an angle. So depending how long your legs are and how it feels, if you have a yoga block or yoga block-like thing that you can use, you might want to rest your foot on something just to give it a bit more height, but you don't have to. Another option is to let this leg just hang bent. So you want one cheek on, one cheek off your chair basically. So make sure it's a sturdy chair. And again, if you want to go to that full warrior two, this leg is just kind of out on a diagonal somewhere. You could try to take it further back, but you want to make sure you don't fall off your chair. So ideally you want this foot totally on the ground. So just somewhere out there, and this foot over here. So even though you're on a chair, you want to push your feet into the ground so you have that support. And then reaching your arms out, you want to feel the legs working. You don't have to use the yoga block, so listen to your hips. If you feel like your knee is way up here, then you probably don't need the yoga block. So you want to get really tall, push down into your feet and legs, get them working for you. Relax your shoulders and really reach through your fingertips and take deep breaths. Stay here as long as you like. You could even do a little flow with one forearm on the leg, and then bring your backhand to the chair, seat of the chair, and reach your front arm up if you like. But of course, we don't want to forget the other side. One cheek on, one cheek off. This leg's sticking out somewhere on an angle, or you could keep both legs bent. Even if both legs are bent, pushing them down to the floor. Feel supported. So whichever version you'd like to do, knees stacked over the ankle, reaching the arms out, shoulders relaxed. And again, you can do your little flow if you like, and you can hold the poses even longer if you like. But just make sure those legs are working even though you're on the chair. Legs up the chair pose. So this is a modified version of legs up the wall pose, where you put your tushy right up against a wall with your legs straight up the wall. In this case, we're using a chair, and it's always good to have something soft underneath you if you're on a hard floor. And just try to get your knees resting right at the edge of the chair, arms relaxed by your sides, and just totally relax your legs. And this is a great pose to even do before bed. But again, you could do it during a work day just to relax yourself for a few minutes. So you can always rest something under your head as well. Make it really comfortable. Maybe you're having a stressful day and this is one pose you could do on a lunch break, on any break from studying, or just in the middle of the day or any time before bed. Again, you could put your legs up a wall as well instead, but sometimes a chair is nice if you don't want to stretch your legs if they're tight. And just take a few deep breaths. Make sure your shoulders are away from the ears, walk them down, and rest your body. And don't forget, a chair is a comfortable place to just practice meditation instead of sitting on the floor if that's not comfortable for you. Then you can rest your back on the back of a chair. Just make sure you're able to sit somewhat tall to keep your back happy. And again, you could cross your legs while you're in the chair if you like, or just keep your feet on the floor, trying to get them flat on the floor. Again, if you have yoga blocks or something to rest your feet on if your legs are a bit shorter. And just maybe have your palms up, or even a chair mountain pose with your arms by your sides. And just focusing on your breath. Sometimes it's nice to rest your hands on your stomach. We hold a lot of stress and tension and emotion in the stomach. So sometimes your warm hands, warm them up, place them on your belly, and just breathe deep down into your belly. And focus on your breathing. Listen to the sound of your breath, closing your eyes. Meditation is not easy. Even if you give yourself, even a minute of meditation can feel like an hour to some people. So it's a good challenge to get into, just to rest your mind, take focus off whatever's going on in your day, and bring yourself back to just breathing. Everything comes down to the breath. We can't live without it. So we start with that. So I hope you enjoyed these seated postures. You can do the whole thing in a flow, one after the other, or pick and choose which ones you like. Use them anytime throughout the day while you're at work or at home. And it's for all ages. You don't have to be a senior to do these poses. Sometimes it's just nice to have the option of being in a chair when you're in your work clothes and get a few poses in, or even on a plane. Some of these poses could be done in a chair on the plane, depending how much space you have. So always good wherever you are. If you're sitting for a while, make sure you stretch your body. I will see you next time. Have a good day or night.